a non-prescription skincare routine to help support rosacea-prone skin. We totally filmed and already posted that rosacea video, talking about the different subtypes of rosacea and the different stages of rosacea and some of the things that cause and trigger it. But if you're looking for a skincare routine that you can get over the counter, what products should you look for? What things should you avoid? And what sort of a skincare routine should you bring to your dermatologist so that you can work with that care provider to find prescriptions that are actually going to help and clinically treat your rosacea that you can work into a daily routine. It's your Acne Big Sis here to share with you a sample routine as well as do's and don'ts. So as a little bit of a refresher, rosacea is a chronic vascular condition. It does normally happen to women between the ages of 30 and 60, but it can happen to anyone at any time. It's usually this redness and flushing of the skin, but there are subtypes such as ocular rosacea or papulopustular rosacea or even phimous rosacea, which is really intense and you need to see a derm for that one. Because things like rhinophyma require plastic surgery. I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna sit here and BS you like one of these beauty magazines saying that like turmeric milk and papaya face masks are gonna fix your rhinophyma, because I'm not going to give you the bullshit. I am not going to sugarcoat it. The only thing I will do for you is slather it in SPF, which yes, is something that you should do for rosacea-prone skin. Remember that rosacea really goes alongside a lot of these triggers. So even when you have a really good skincare routine in place, you want to have a rosacea diary. Know what those triggers are, whether it's the spicy food, whether it's anxiety and stress, or if it is sun exposure and exercise. Lifestyle changes for rosacea are really important, so avoiding alcohol, spicy foods, or caffeine can help. But we're actually going to talk about topical caffeine in this video because that can help. Let's first do a list of generalized do's and don'ts. Now, everything comes with nuance. Rosacea is very individualized to each person, and someone might find that these can help while others might find that some of these can hurt. But these are kind of some general guidelines. When it comes to things that people with rosacea shouldn't use, we want to avoid stuff that is really going to irritate or aggravate the skin. We don't want to use a bunch of fragrances, and we definitely don't want to use a bunch of essential oils. Rosacea-prone skin can have a damaged barrier, and we don't want to exacerbate that. We also don't want to use benzoyl peroxide. This is normally used in the treatment of acne, but benzoyl peroxide is a strong oxidizer. And we know that in rosacea-prone skin, some of this ROS damage can actually lead to or exacerbate the rosacea condition. So we don't want oxidizers, we actually want antioxidants. You do want to avoid witch hazel, you do want to avoid camphor, you do want to avoid eucalyptus and menthol and things of that nature, because anything that is overly harsh can really irritate the skin. And yes, of course, this includes walnut scrubs and physical abrasive scrubs. You just don't want to use them because we don't want to risk it. On the other hand, we do want to use antioxidants. These are great. Specifically, something like green tea is phenomenal, and yes, even caffeine can help. Caffeine is a topical vasoconstrictor, and in rosacea, we know that this telangiectasia or these broken blood vessels are a huge part of rosacea in this condition. So using something that can act as a vasoconstrictor can really help. We also know that vitamin C is a really great antioxidant, but I would actually avoid using irritating vitamin C. Again, we don't want anything that tingles, so irritating vitamin C goes over here. But there are forms of vitamin C that are either at lower concentrations or that are ester vitamin Cs, which are better for sensitive skin. They are oil soluble and they seem to be tolerated better. So using an ester vitamin C or a low dose might be okay, but this is going to depend on the person. We also love our B vitamins. We're talking niacinamide and panthenol. Again, these aren't going to cure rosacea, but niacinamide can help the skin create more ceramides, which the skin naturally needs, and rosacea-prone skin normally has a damaged skin barrier, so we love that. And speaking of ceramides, yes, ceramides, moisturizers, hydrators. Look for shea butter, look for caprylic triglyceride. You could even look for really occlusive barriers such as dimethicone or petroleum jelly, which we find in Vaseline. I know it's greasy and it's kind of gross and it's sticky, but as an overnight mask for rosacea-prone skin, that can really help. Moisturizers and hydrators are super great, especially because rosacea is usually paired with a little bit of dryness and irritation, except for rhinophyma, which is normally large pores and oiliness, but again, see a derm and a plastic surgeon for that. But when it comes to hydrators, we also have to talk about hyaluronic acid. Now, a lot of people with rosacea like hyaluronic acid, but there are some people who have rosacea and sensitive skin, and they find that hyaluronic acid is horrible for them. This is anecdotal. I've asked a few dermatologists about this. Some say yes, some say no, but I think it really depends on the person. Hyaluronic acid comes in different molecular weights. It is something that is made naturally by our cells. It's in our skin, it's in our tissues, but for some people, hyaluronic acid can be irritating. And if that's you, cut it out of your skincare routine and try to avoid it. It's in plenty of products, and that might be a culprit. But for others, hyaluronic acid is a really good humectant humectant, it can help, so you might want to include it. Glycerin as well is a wonderful humectant that you might want to look for, and again, we mentioned shea butter, these hydrators, really good for rosacea-prone skin. Amino acids and peptides are also fantastic. There are many different peptides out there. Are there any specifically that have been proven to help rosacea? Not to my current knowledge and understanding, but a lot of them don't hurt, and I would say they are okay to use. And do you know that we had to save the best for last? We're talking about azelaic acid and SPF, which is your BFF. Now, the best SPF is the one that you're going to use, but I do have a couple of actual recommendations and why for rosacea-prone skin, I prefer recommending a mineral over organic/chemical SPFs. We're gonna talk about that in a second though, because we can't forget our favorite topical dicarboxylic acid, which is azelaic acid. This is phenomenal for rosacea, especially if you are someone who has papulopustular rosacea. If you are pregnant or breastfeeding, this is safe to use. And azelaic acid is actually sold in a prescription form at above 15% here in America, and it comes in different gel and foam creams, but you can also get it over the counter. This is amazing. It is often what dermatologists use and prescribe, and what you get over the counter is just a lower amount of that same active ingredient. Now, something else that is used commonly in the treatment for acne, but has shown some promise in papulopustular rosacea is Adapalene gel. I do want to make it clear that this is an off-label use, and this isn't going to help with erythema. Adapalene gel was compared to metronidazole in a study, and they did find that there was a decrease in papulopustular lesions. However, there was not a difference in erythema or redness. So for people with that form of rosacea, Adapalene gel might help, but it's not going to be an end-all be-all. And again, if you're not using the sunscreen or if you're not using the azelaic acid, reach for those two things first. So, a skincare routine for rosacea-prone skin starts with a good cleanser. You want to use something that's non-stripping, that's non-irritating, something that isn't going to aggravate the skin. Again, avoiding fragrances and really high plant actives. This is one that I personally love. This is the Hydrating Gel 2 Cream Cleanser from Paula's Choice. This is a nice milky emulsion, so it's hydrating to the skin, it's non-stripping, but it's cleansing without being irritating. This also has some antioxidants like green tea. It also has some phospholipids as well as a whole bunch of amino acids. We are talking glycine, alanine, isoleucine, proline, basically you name it, they put them all in here. This is a really fantastic face wash, especially for rosacea-prone skin, because there's nothing in here that will irritate, and if anything, these things can slightly help. You also know that there are many cleansers that I just love. They are some of my go-tos. The Inkey List Oat Cleansing Balm is a really great one that is non-irritating and non-stripping. There are a lot of cleansers from K-Beauty that do rosacea-prone skin very well, and generally a cleanser without fragrance that is not overly stripping with very few actives but lots of antioxidants is going to be a great way to go. Then let's talk about toners. Toners for rosacea-prone skin I don't always recommend, and the reason why is because toners generally are meant to balance the pH of the skin, but a lot of them have things like BHAs or exfoliating acids or treatments. And as mentioned, with rosacea-prone skin, we want to avoid a lot of those harsh exfoliators. We want to avoid a lot of those actives. We really want to soothe the skin, which is why I do like things that are a bit more essences. Now make sure the essence doesn't have fragrance in it. One of my absolute favorites is this one from Pyunkang. This is probably the most gentle liquid grape jelly masterpiece that I could ever recommend. I love this for the face, and if you are looking for a really nice essence that just helps to soothe the skin, this is it. The main ingredient in here is Astragalus membranaceous root extract. This has arginine, and then this also has hydroxyethyl cellulose. It's just a really nice, gentle, fragrance-free formula. And again, for rosacea-prone skin, it's normally coupled with this dryness. We want to hydrate the rosacea-prone skin, and using this as a boost of moisture, especially after a cleanser, you can lock this in with a moisturizer, can be super helpful. And a lot of people just anecdotally say that applying products to moist skin kind of helps their rosacea. Obviously, when you're taking a shower or washing your face, don't use overly hot or overly cold water. Make sure that it is temperate, because temperature changes can be a trigger for rosacea-prone skin. But using something like this just helps other products penetrate deeper, and this really helps to lock moisture in so that your skin isn't overly dehydrated. Another good option is this Superoxide Dismutase from Noid. This is a very fancy mist, but I absolutely love this. And there is not something in here that has been directly related to curing or solving rosacea. There is no cure for rosacea. We can just try to support the skin and use prescriptions that can help treat things, right? And anything over the counter is really going to be supplementary to what a dermatologist prescribes. But I have found that anecdotally, Superoxide Dismutase does look promising. And again, anecdotally with patients and clients, it does help their skin. Now, there was one study that actually looked at how rosacea-prone skin reacts to ROS, these reactive oxygen species and this free radical damage. And this study found that the release of Superoxide Dismutase Dismutase, which is an enzyme with antioxidant activity, is another mechanism providing defense against oxidative damage in rosacea-prone skin. So theoretically, if we apply superoxide dismutase topically to the skin, that might help. Again, is it going to cure it? Absolutely not. But can it hurt? Probably not. And if you really like the spray form of this, or if you have rosacea and this is something that you're willing to give a try, I've heard and seen anecdotally this antioxidant does great things, and I personally love it, and I do recommend. Haru Wonder also has their black rice toner. It is like kombucha in a bottle. I love it so much. Just keep in mind that although this doesn't have fragrance, it does have lavender oil and it does have limonene, etc. And so this might not be the best for the most sensitive prone skin. Another K-beauty favorite is from Purito. They have a toner that they actually took all of the fragrance out of. It is the Purito Centella Unscented Toner. This one is fantastic. Again, no fragrance, very nice, hydrating and soothing to the skin. And if you're sensitive, or if you have irritation, or if you're just looking for a rosacea buffer with more moisturization, this one can really help. Do keep in mind that the Haru Black Rice Toner and the Purito Unscented Centella one do have sodium hyaluronate and hyaluronic acid in them, so if you're sensitive, avoid that. And that these two, the Superoxide Dismutase and the Pyunkang ones, do not, so keep that in mind. And after toners, we love serums and treatments. Some of my favorite serums contain, of course, azelaic acid, that dicarboxylic acid. This is phenomenal, and there are a couple different products that I recommend. I love the Ordinaries. I feel like it is inexpensive, it is affordable, it works really well, and people with rosacea have said that they've had great luck with this. Again, if you get a prescription cream such as Finacea Gel or the foam, that is a higher percentage of azelaic acid, but topically, this one from the Ordinary is great. I've heard a couple people complain about graininess with the Ordinary one. If that bothers you, then of course avoid it, but I personally don't see it to be a deal breaker for me. Now, if you don't like that graininess, there is also the Paula's Choice Azelaic Acid Booster. This one is great. You could mix it in with moisturizers, you could use it on its own. Again, this azelaic acid, phenomenal. And then if you want something that really is a more serum texture, there's the HoliFrog one. HoliFrog? Is it like a holographic frog? Or is it like a holy frog? Like with like an angel halo. But this HoliFrog antioxidant dewdrop is an amazing serum, and yes, it contains azelaic acid as well as other ingredients like CoQ10. CoQ10, coenzyme 10, otherwise known as ubiquinone, is really great as an antioxidant and support system for the skin. This product also has squalane, aloe, as well as sodium hyaluronate. So again, hyaluronic acid type stuff that really helps with moisture of the skin. This is a great one, and it is fragrance free. It does have some orange extract, so keep that in mind if you're sensitive, but overall, it is a really good one. And I mean, look at this. I don't know if it's an angel frog or if it's a holographic frog or if it's like Holi the holiday. I mean, I am so down for a holographic Holi angel frog. Like, yes, I love it. Take my money, just take it. Other serums that you can look for have antioxidants or vasoconstrictors in them. Again, green tea is a really good one. There is the Benton line. They actually have a green tea serum that is really good. Again, fragrance free. This has green tea, it has vitamin E and hyaluronic acid. This is a really good one. And then, shocker, the Ordinary's Caffeine Eye Serum. This is the caffeine solution 5% plus epigallocatogen 3-gallate EGCG. This is actually amazing. I don't recommend this under the eyes. I recommend this all over the face. This is a caffeine serum, and from the Ordinary, it's inexpensive. It's a vasoconstrictor, and I actually feel that this is really helpful for rosacea-prone skin. We also spoke about niacinamide. I wouldn't recommend a niacinamide and zinc. I wouldn't recommend anything that dries out the skin. I would want like a hydrating niacinamide cream or serum. We've actually done videos on the best and worst niacinamide ones, and the Purito Deep Sea Water Cream, they have some fragrance-free niacinamide ones that are really, really good. And as mentioned before, Adapalene is used off-label for papulopustular rosacea. If you do have the papules and the pustules, as well as rosacea plus acne, this could be really helpful. Just remember that this is not going to treat the erythema or the redness that is associated with rosacea. But if you've tried everything, talk to your dermatologist about adding a retinoid. It could potentially be helpful. Just make sure that you're not adding a retinoid that could be irritating or drying to the skin. And normally, if a dermatologist is prescribing a retinoid for rosacea, it's because they've already taken you through the topical antibiotics such as the doxycycline, the tetracycline, the metronidazole, the erythromycin, etc. Those are really going to come first before prescription retinoids, but good to keep in mind. And then of course, moisturizers. You can use gel-like moisturizers under your sunscreen during the day, and then we're gonna talk about some thick ones at night. But look for moisturizers that are supportive of the skin. Again, niacinamide moisturizers are a really great option. There is one from Saturday Skin that is phenomenal. It has niacinamide, it has carrot, it has adenosine, it has ceramide NP. It does have cholesterol, and I'm pretty sure it's from a vegan source, but I would want to double check. But it is also fragrance free, so I would really recommend the Saturday Skin one. That one is great. This one from the Inkey list is also good. This is the Peptide moisturizer. Peptides are fine for rosacea. Again, I don't know of any peptides that will directly help rosacea, but they don't really hurt. EGF or epidermal growth factor is a good one. This is more of a gel formula, so I would recommend this as something lighter for daytime use. Any of the gel formulas I feel like are better for day. And as you know, rosacea prone skin can be coupled with this dryness, especially if it's not rhinophyma or this phymatous rosacea, which is associated with oiliness. But slathering on those moisturizers is going to be so helpful. And in my personal opinion, some of the greatest moisturizers for rosacea prone skin are going to be the ones that do have ceramides in them and really good barrier and skin support. Ceramedx is absolutely one of my favorites. I consider this a leveled up version of CeraVe. This has a bunch of plant ceramides in it, and she is thick. This goes on really well at night, locks everything in, and even for my oily acne prone skin, I love the way this makes my face feel when I do wake up. But for rosacea, this is a really wonderful moisturizer. And there's also this one from Klairs. This one does have sodium hyaluronate as well as a couple of fragrancing kind of plant ingredients. It doesn't have direct fragrance, but it does have plant ingredients. But this one is really soothing and great for the skin. Pacifica also has the Wake Up Beautiful with some quinoa and flower extracts. You have to be okay. I wouldn't recommend it for super sensitive skin because of those flower ingredients. It's technically a sleeping mask, but a sleeping mask is, you know, just an overnight moisturizer. So I love that one. And Pacifica actually came out with their vegan ceramide cream. It is one of my favorites. It is so good. It is purple, it has ceramides, it is fragrance free, and it comes with little butterflies on it. Like, hello. It is inexpensive, it is affordable, it is absolutely one of my favorites. Bubble as well, the Bubble moisturizer. If you want during the day, you can use the gel one and you can use the moisturizing one at night. That's another great option, but it's technically fragrance free. Now I do believe it has geraniol or limonene in it, so just be aware of that, but that's another good one. And then the Skin Fix Triple Lipid Moisturizer is again really great. I think that has sodium hyaluronate, but really good for helping with a damaged skin barrier. And then, as we mentioned, literally petrolatum jelly. Get some greasy, nasty vegan Vaseline. Get yourself some Solimo jelly. I don't recommend this during the day. I would only do this at night, but you could basically, you know, use one of these hydrators and just lock that shit in with some petrolatum jelly Vaseline type shit. And that can definitely help to push and penetrate that hydration deep into your pores. Of course, we're gonna discuss sunscreen, but what about mask treatments? You know, we did mention sulfur. Sulfur is actually really good, and especially if your rosacea is coupled with a lot of these Demodex mites, you have to get that diagnosed by a derm. But there are these arachnids, these 8-legged Demodex mites that live inside of your pores. And yes, they do, and they f on your face and they come out at night when you sleep. Sorry to scare you, and if you want a full video on it, let me know because it's very, very fun to talk about. But I digress. Demodex mites have been related to rosacea, and people who have a ton of Demodex mites might have more triggers or flares in rosacea. But again, right now we don't have enough evidence to say that one causes the other or that there is a super strong direct correlation in every single person. But Demodex mites do not like sulfur masks, and there is an acne-free sulfur mask that I feel is really good. If you want to use a sulfur face mask in rosacea-prone skin, these things have been proven to help as well. Another type of mask that you might want to consider is red light therapy. We know that LED therapy has been medically proven to work. Specifically, red LED lights at a specific wavelength can penetrate the skin, they can help rebuild collagen, and they can decrease inflammation. There are different pathways that are mediated by cellular signaling, and red light from LED can help. Which LED is best? I've always really avoided the ones that if you don't use goggles, I'm like, are they actually going to work? Are you actually protecting your eyes? So I really love the light stim. It's amazing for acne. It's amazing for collagen stimulation. I think it's good for wrinkles. It's good for rosacea. Again, red LED and blue LED have been medically proven. I love the light stim. I am currently looking at and reconsidering some of the face masks. So the Dr. Dennis Gross one is really expensive, but I'm looking at that one. And then the Current Body one I'm looking at. But I'm like, you guys, if it doesn't have the little eye things, are we actually protected? And is it actually strong enough to do anything? I'm gonna figure it out and I'm gonna find out for you, okay? And again, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but I am gonna slather it. And let's talk about sunscreen. sunscreen. Because as we know, sun is a huge trigger for rosacea. We want to make sure that we are avoiding the sun. We're talking hats, avoiding those really strong UV rays during the middle of the day. But we want to make sure that we are protecting our face. Now, there are many different sunscreens out there, but what should we look for? We want to use something that is fragrance-free because, again, fragrance can irritate the skin. Now, the best sunscreen is the one that you are going to use. So if that is a organic sunscreen that is a chemical sunscreen, use it. But for some people, again, clients and patients anecdotally have had some issues with irritation, especially if their rosacea-prone skin is coupled with sensitive skin. And for that reason, a lot of my sunscreen recommendations are physical/mineral. Also considering that rosacea can happen to anyone, but it usually happens in Fitzpatrick types 1 through 3, so lighter skin tones with this Celtic, Irish, English background. Usually a white cast isn't as big of an issue for these individuals that it is for someone who has a black skin, ebony skin, or is a 4, 5, or 6 on the Fitzpatrick scale. So a lot of these are physical, but we do have some that have tints. A really good one that I've been loving is this one from Kinship. This is the Self-Reflect Probiotic Moisturizing Sunscreen with an SPF 32. This one is great. One of my tried and true. This one is Nearly Invisible from Dermalogica. It's expensive, but boy, is it good. This is the SPF 30 Invisible Physical Defense. This one does have lavender in it, so be aware of that, but I absolutely love this, and this is great for rosacea. There's also this one if you want something with a little bit of a tint. This one is from Bliss. It is the Blockstar Invisible Sunscreen SPF 30. Again, completely mineral. This one is tinted. It does have blueberry extract in it, which we love for antioxidants, but this also has lavender, so just be aware of that. Cocoa Kind also has their daily SPF 32, and then Paula's Choice has this one, which our beautiful butterfly Paula actually loves. This one is again fragrance-free, and this one is hyaluronic acid-free as well. This is the Super Light Daily Wrinkle Defense Broad Spectrum SPF 30, and it also has antioxidants and resveratrol, so really, really good for rosacea-prone skin. I would say this is phenomenal if you want a regular sunscreen. This is excellent if you want a tint and you're okay with the lavender. And again, a lot of these are broad spectrum, meaning they prevent against UVA and UVB rays and even blue light protective. Again, blue light, I don't think it matters as much unless you have a Fitzpatrick type 4, 5, or 6, and you don't have to worry about blue light from your screens. Your screens are not producing as much blue light as the sun and the environment does, but if you're worried about blue light, specifically the blue light that comes from the sun, the high energy visible blue light, then you know, a really good broad spectrum sunscreen can help. Because SPF is what? Your mother? No. Your professor? Absolutely not. Your wife? You would think so, but no, it is your BFF, which is why you put it on every single day and you reapply it and you have a good relationship. And you love to keep it at arm's length for easy reapplication. All of these are listed below in the bottom tab if you are interested. Those are affiliate links that are there for you, and I've actually made an entire rosacea and sensitive skin category. So if you click on some of those, there are actually shelves that correlate to different skin conditions and concerns to make it easier to find products that are actually suited to different skin conditions. For instance, rosacea versus acne. It's all there for you. I did the work, so you don't have to. Do remember to stay hydrated, both orally and topically. Reapply your BFF, and always remember to be beautiful both inside and out. I cannot wait to see you in the rosacea video where we talk about the different types of rosacea, what it looks like, what the different subcategories are, because if you haven't seen that, it is a boatload of fun. I love you, and I'll see you right there. Bye.